What it do, gang? Welcome back to the channel. As always, I'm hoping that you're having a great day. Shit. Now, with that being said, I want to address something real quick, bro. I want to talk to you about something really quick. So stick with me for a little bit. Just a little bit. Just stick with me. I'm going to go on a mini rant. Just please stick with me because I got to explain this to you guys. And I really want you guys to listen to this, right? So with that being said, here we have a Naturia Vernusylth deck list. It's an updated deck list for this new season right now, right? Season 18, I believe it is. And I'm gonna keep it a book with you, bro. Meaning, I'm gonna be honest with you. I was not planning on playing this deck, like whatsoever, at all. I was not planning on playing it. Now, the reason why I'm playing it is because one of you guys, one of my subscribers, asked me to play this deck. And I told him to give me a few days because, again, I had other things I wanted to work on. I have other decks that I'm building. And I have a job, bro. I work from morning to afternoon, from afternoon to night, and from night to morning. I work 3 different shifts. It's scattered all over the place. So sometimes I can only make videos when I have the time to make videos. So if you ask me to build you a deck and it's taking me a little while, bro, then it's because I don't have the time to do that at that point in time. So with that being said, little homie unsubscribed, or something happened. I can't find his comment anywhere because usually I like to give you guys a little shout out when you guys ask me to make you decks or build a deck or something. So with that being said, please don't ask me to build a deck or make an updated deck list or do anything if you're just gonna be impatient and not wait a few days for me to make the video, because then now I just feel like I wasted my time. And then on top of that, I could have been building and making some of the decks that I'm really excited to build and make, and then I decided to make this for you, bro, and you just did. So again, I'm not trying to put nobody on blast. This is a negative. It's just please don't ask me to do stuff if you're not going to be patient enough to wait. So with that being said, this is the deck list. I got the replays for you guys, and then I'll go over the deck list at the end of the video, pros and cons, and why you should or shouldn't play this deck. You can actually also play this deck in the synchro event. So with that being said, let's get into the replay. Right, fam, here we are for the first replay of the day. Now, two of these replays, they're just me controlling branded Despia, or Bestial Despia, whatever you want to call it. This deck doesn't do a lot of OTK or anything like that. You're basically playing the grind game. You're basically trying to control your opponent, negate their stuff, make them use their resources, so then you could do your own stuff, right? It doesn't have a lot of OTK potential and stuff like that either, so that's why I'm going to show you some replays that it's not me botting my opponent. They're just going to scoop, right? So here we are going to start off by activating the Vernusylth, the Missing Ceiling, sending the Naturia Angel to the graveyard. That way I could get myself Flourishing Hills. I'm going to activate the Flourishing Hills so that way I could get myself the Towering Mountains. This thing, I actually really like it a lot in this deck. Then I'm going to bring back the Naturia Sunflower. I'm going to activate this thing's effect, sending both of these monsters to the graveyard. That way I can special summon the Forest Hills. And then I can special summon the Awakening Forest, right? Now with 2 level 4 monsters, we are gonna Exceed summon into the Abyss Dweller. Now, what do you call it? Tier limits isn't that prominent anymore ever since the update. But, you know, a lot of decks still don't like Abyss Dweller. So we are still running it, and still people do play tiers, even though it's not that prominent. So here they're going to Avion the Shredded Dragon, sending one of their traps to the graveyard. I'm gonna activate our Abyss Dweller because they don't get to activate stuff in the graveyard, right? Which is really good. Again, it works well against this thing. They're going to activate Brand the Opening, bringing the Aluber onto the field. I'm going to activate the Naturia Angel, right? That way I can special summon one of our crickets. They're going to get themselves the Brand the Lost because they can't find themselves. So I'm going to activate the cricket to help them out. They're going to try and call by the grave that thing. And that's when I'm going to activate my Mudara. So I could shuffle it back into the deck. Shuffle their protection and their trap back into the deck as well. Disrupting their plays. Bring them back in there. So here they don't get to call by the grave or anything. So I'm going to special summon 2 of my monsters because he has the highest attack monster on the field. I get to bring 2 of these monsters out, and then this one right here, Naturia Vein, whenever they activate, since I don't have the synchro monster, the Naturia synchro monster, this is a good substitute because when your opponent activates spell trap card, quick effect, you contribute 1 Naturia monster and this card negate the activation if you do destroy that card, right? Also, we have our Naturia Camellia. We still have 2 monster negates. So here we're going to send the Sacred Tree to the graveyard. That way I could get my follow-up for next turn. They're going to activate the Branded Lost, and that's when I activate the Naturia Vein. We would have popped and destroyed that thing. We still had the 2 negates on the field, so they decided to scoop. Now this deck actually has a great matchup against some of the decks in the meta right now, because a lot of the decks use spells. But the main problem is that they have so much gas that they can actually destroy your stuff most of the time before you even get to it. But with that being said, let's get into the next replay. Alright gang, here we are for the second replay of the day. Now this one was against Sky Strikers, I believe it was. It's 3 turns. Now like I said, some of these replays are gonna be kind of short because most of the time, even people, I think when you play this deck, you have an advantage of people thinking that you're playing the runic version and they scoop too, so it's hilarious. So here I'm going to activate the Mason Sleeting, sending that and the Agito to the graveyard. And this is one of the problems with this deck. Ash Blossom destroys all the Vernusylth cards. It just stops all of them, so that's a problem. But here I'm going to activate the Agito because it's all I have at this point in time, right, besides this. And I don't even know what we're playing against yet. So I'm going to activate our Naturia Camellia. They're going to imperm that thing after we got Ash Blossom. I got hit with the double disruption, so I'm like, okay, bet I can't really do much about that. I'm just gonna set down our back row and end our turn, right? So here our opponent draws a card. They show us the Raigeki, and I'm like, what the heck are you playing, bro, that you have all of this disruption? My man sends me with the Call by the Grave, trying to target my Keldo. So I activate that thing's effect so I can get my Vernusylth cards back into the deck. Then I'm going to activate my Naturia Blessing so I can bring my Naturia Nothing onto the field, because they're going to activate Sky Striker Mecha Cannon, and now I know what I'm playing against. They're going to banish that thing, right? Get it out of here. So I'm like, okay, bet. I'm going to have to special summon the Naturia Stink Bug, because that is the only other Naturia card that I had in the graveyard. So for this thing to special summon, right? So they get to cover the grave nothing because everything else got shuffled inside. They're going to activate Triple Tactic Talents. I'm going to activate my Naturia Sacred Tree. That way I could bring my Naturia Camellia back onto the field, because I need girl out here. I need her out here, bro. So again, they decide to draw 2 cards. I activate this thing's effect, sending the Naturia Sacred Tree to the graveyard. That way I can get myself a Maul Cricket for follow-up next turn. They drew into the Sky Striker Mobilize Engage. So they go into the Hayate, right? So here I activate this thing's effect, and I'm going to special summon the Stink Bug, mainly for just resources, because this thing can attack directly, right? So my opponent decided that they did not want to read. They didn't care about this card. They were just so focused on getting rid of this thing that they didn't realize. This thing says when a Naturia monster you control is targeted for an attack, quick effect, you can send this card from the field to the graveyard and negate that attack, and then end the battle phase. Target it. So if it would have attacked me directly, this wouldn't have happened. So I activate this thing's effect. Now it's the end of the battle phase. You didn't get to attack anything. They have to use this thing to link off into the Sky Striker Ace, right? Bring her onto the field. And they're going to have to end their turn. Now at the end of the turn, they're going to get themselves immobilized. Unfortunately for them, between all the interruptions that they made, I searched out my follow-up. So I'm going to normal summon my Maul Cricket, activate its effect, activating the effect of the Camellia so I don't have to tribute it. Then I'm going to special summon my Rose Whip, right? And then, okay, yeah, they still have the monster with the highest attack, so I get to bring another Naturia Camellia onto the field, activate its effect, sending the Sacred Tree to the graveyard. That way I can get myself a Naturia Blessing. Now with both of these monsters, we are going to Synchro Summon into Naturia Beast, bring her out to the field, activate the effect of Maul Cricket, special summon onto the field. Now with the level 3 tuner and the level 5 Synchro Summon, I get to go into Draco, the Berserker of the Tenyi, right? Bring it out here. I'm going to activate my Naturia Blessing, bring the Naturia Beast back onto the field. I'm going to attack over this thing, slap it in the face, giving myself an attack boost. Then I'm going to slap him with the Naturia Beast, slap him with the Naturia Camellia. That's going to leave him with 3,600 life points. And they're about to scoop, bro, because legitimately Sky Strikers cannot handle this card whatsoever, bro. So they just leave. Because if they go into anything or activate anything, I'm going to banish it with the Draco Berserker Tenyi. And then if they activate any spells, I'm just going to negate it. We have the Maul Crickets. I could bring the Sunflower onto the field, which gives me another 2 monster negates. So it was GG's, bro. So with that being said, let's go into the next replay. Alright gang, here we are for the 3rd replay of the day. Now both of these last 2 replays, like I said, it's just me controlling our opponent, so they're gonna be kind of short. So let's get into it, right? So here I believe we are going first. Yeah we are. So here we're gonna start off. Also, one of the things that I like is this thing in the deck. I wish we could run it at more than 1. It's just for consistent reasons, it's not good to have it at more than 1, but it will help out seeing it more in your hand. Now with that being said, we're going to activate our Throwing Mountains, right? Send it to the graveyard with our Goddess. That way I can special summon the Goddess, draw into a card, and I drew into the Mole Cricket. That's why I really like this card, and I'm running it at 2 in the deck. So again, we're gonna normal summon the thing, activate its effect. We're gonna bring out the Naturia Camellia, activate its effect, sending the Naturia Sunflower to the graveyard, activating our blessing, bringing the Mole Cricket back onto the field. That way we could use both of these monsters to Xyz summon into the Naturia Beast Synchro. I'm sorry. That's gonna activate the Mole Cricket, special summon onto the field, and we're gonna end our turn, right? Now, this doesn't look all that great, but it's decent. Now, the reason why this is decent is because we can negate all of the spells. She's gonna allow me to bring a monster onto the field, a Earth monster, and then we still have the Mole Cricket, which can allow me to bring other Naturia cards back onto the field, right? So here I'm gonna activate our Goddess, bring the Camellia back onto the field. That's gonna trigger her effect to send the Sacred Tree to the graveyard. That way I can get myself the follow-up for next turn, our Naturia Blessing, right? So here they're gonna activate Gaia's the Gwandar of the Dragon. I haven't seen this card in so long, bro. But they activate that thing, sending the Bistro Saronir to the graveyard, right? They're going to activate that thing's effect in the graveyard. I'm going to activate my Camellia, also activating my Mole Cricket. Because now I want to have 5 Earth monsters on the field. I'm still going to call by the grave that thing because I'm assuming they're playing some type of branded variant. So that thing has to go because I don't want them sending anything, any traps or spells to the graveyard, right? So get that thing out of here. I'm going to special summon the Naturia Vein. Because, again, I'm thinking I'm playing against branded or anything, and I also don't want to get evenly matched. So this is my evenly matched protection. So I'm gonna special summon the Sunflower as well. That thing gets banished and negated, right? They're gonna activate this thing's effect to destroy all the cards on the field, and luckily we did this quick, so we have the Naturia Sunflower. I get to activate its effect, activating this effect so I don't have to get rid of anything. I just got to send some cards to the graveyard to negate and pop that card, right? Get it out of here. They're gonna normal summon the Tier Limits Merly. And again, this thing is a double negate. So I'm going to tribute both of these monsters right here. That way we can negate and pop that thing. And that's all our opponent wrote. They couldn't even activate that thing's effect after I popped it. Because they don't have anything else, any other tier limits cards in the hand at that point in time. So with that being said, let's go into the next replay. Alright gang, here we are for the last replay of the day. Like I said, these replays are kind of short because the deck is a control deck that doesn't really use floodgates. I mean, we use the I'm gonna show you 2 floodgates that you could use in the deck towards the decklist portion of the video, but most of the time you're gonna control your opponent. They're thinking that you're playing Runic probably, and sometimes they just scoop. Like, people don't really like this engine all that much, so they just scoop as well. So here again, this is what I'm telling you. I activate my Flourishing Hills, sending the Mole Cricket to the graveyard. That way I can activate its effect, special summon it, but we get Ash Blossom because all the Vernusylth cards can be Ash Blossom, bro, sadly, right? So that thing gets bodied and negated, so I'm going to activate my Mistling Duckling. That way I can send the Naturia Sunflower to the graveyard. I'm going to search out Kelbeck because Kelbeck is a trap, it's a hand trap, right? So here I'm going to special summon the Mole Cricket, activate its effect, send it back to the graveyard, special summon the Camellia, activate the Camellia, sending the Sacred Tree to the graveyard. That way I can activate its effect, getting myself a Naturia Blessing, right? We're going to activate the Naturia Blessing, bring the Cricket back onto the field. And with both of these monsters, we're going to go into the Naturia Beast. Bring it out here. We're going to activate the Mole Cricket, bring it back onto the field. And that's our board because we got disrupted, right? But luckily though, this board doesn't seem all that crazy, but it's decent because we have unlimited spell negates. We still have this thing which can allow me to bring some of the Naturia monsters back. I can bounce a card back into the hand if they send something to the graveyard, and we have the Ash Blossom, so it's not that bad. So here they activate, and this is one of the reasons why it's kind of hard playing against branded as well. This happened to me about 5 times. Normal summon Fallen Albas, they have a free Mirror Jade if you don't have any way of disrupting this thing, because they can use this thing to go into Mirror Jade, right? So I'm going to activate the Naturia Mole Cricket. You have to be quick on your feet when you're playing this deck too. That's going to allow me to bring out the Camellia, bring it out onto the field. Again, I already knew that we're going to go into the Mirror Jade because what else are they going to go into? I'm going to activate this thing's effect, activating the Mole Cricket as well, activating the second effect of this thing, right? They're going to activate the Tribrigade Carrier, and I'm like, okay, bet. Congratulations. I'm going to activate the Kelbeck, trying to send this thing back into the extra deck, which is going to force them to activate its effect to banish my Camellia, which I'm not 100% okay with, but what else am I going to do, right? So again, that thing gets banished. I get to special summon this thing onto the field, send that thing back. I still get to bring the Mole Cricket back onto the field, and then I still get to bring the Naturia Beast back onto the field. Now they're gonna activate the Lubellion. I'm gonna Ash Blossom that thing because they only have one card left in the hand. So I'm like, what else could that be? And if it's a spell, then it doesn't matter, right? We just disrupted everything. We completely control that, even though they started off going crazy. That's why I brought the Camellia back so quick before they got the Mirror J out, because if I would have done it after, honestly, it would have been GG's. They would have been able to pop off and do everything. I wouldn't be able to do anything else. So with that being said, let's go into the deck list. Alright gang, here we are for the deck list portion of the video. Now again, there's two floodgates that you could play in this deck, and I'm gonna show them to you right away because this is technically a control deck. Technically. I was running Armonth Gileath. Now to make the card 40 cards, I did take it out, but you could run this. It's a better floodgate than this thing in my opinion, because it says neither player can special summon monsters from the extra deck except armor fetch monsters. And the great thing about this is that it's a 2700 beast deck. A lot of normal monsters that aren't from the extra deck cannot be over this thing. Now the only thing is that this thing can be impermed, it can be crimed, it can be sulkied, and it just shuts it off completely. And one of the reasons why you can play this thing too, and it's kind of decent, is because this deck can play without the extra deck pretty fine. Because again, you're controlling your opponent. With this combination right here of these three cards, you can do a lot of craziness. Like you could survive, you could hold your own. But with that being said, this thing just helps it out more. Again, you get this thing out with this thing on the field, and you get your little Naturia cards. You're having a great day. Now with that being said, the other one is the Barrier Statue. Of course, everybody plays this in this deck because it's a control deck. You need it. So that's why I run one copy. Now with that being said, we run 3 Naturia Mole Crickets. We run 1 Naturia Angel, because sometimes when you can't have your resources out like this thing or this thing, but you have this thing out, it's gonna allow you to bring your Mole Cricket onto the field, which is really good. Also, it's a level 2 insect monster, so it'll help you make your level 6 with this thing and this thing without having to use your Sunflower, right? Also, this is another way of getting your Sunflower onto the field, because this thing is a level 2 or lower monster. This thing says it will allow you to special summon a level 3 or lower monster. So this thing in the deck, really good. Then we have our Naturia Sunflower. Again, this is the way we're going to negate monsters twice if you have your Naturia Camellia on the field. I am running 2 Maxis. Again, the deck list is 40 cards. I just wanted to show you that. But 2 Maxis, I'm fine with that. If you want to bump it up to 3, just get rid of something else. Then I am running 1 Naturia Rose Whip. This thing is actually really good, because when you can't bring this thing out, this thing will help you. If not, then they have to beat over it and make a board, which sometimes you're fine with, because you can special summon this thing. They can't be over anything, and you're making disruptions, right? Also, the way that I make this thing is by having this thing and any one of these two right here, and then you make this thing right here, which is pretty amazing, and then you bring your Naturia card back with any one of these. You have a great board, because you have a monster negate, and then you have infinite spell negates, right? Which is really good. So then we are running 1 Naturia Stink Bug, because the boy is stinky, so it's gonna stink away anybody that's trying to attack you. So it's really good as well. Then I am running 2 Ash Blossoms for stopping Maxi, because we do not like Maxi at all. All we do is special summon all the time. And then, you know, branded opening, branded fusion, all of those cards are a menace right now, so run that at 2. Then I am running 2 Vernusylth of the Towering Mountains. This thing is really good because it draws you a card and then it searches you a card. Like, I mean, it allows you to special summon a card. I think this thing is really good. That's why I'm running it at 2. I like it. Vernusylth the Missing Ceiling, we're running that at 3. Then we are running again 1 Barrier Statue, 3 Vernusylths of the Flourishing Hills, and 2 Vernusylths of the Awakening Forest. Then I am running 1 of each of the Ishizu cards, the Keldo, 1 Mudara. Again, that's one of the things that hindered this deck, is that the Ishizu cards got hit. 1 Kelbeck, you don't need 2, honestly, because you don't need to mill a bunch of cards in this deck. It's just sometimes it's good to do so. If you don't have a lot of plays, it's going to help you make some plays, right? And 1 Agito. Then we are running 3 Naturia Camellias. This thing is the cracky sauciness of the deck. This thing and Mole Cricket together are your whole engine, basically. Then 1 Vera, the Vernusylth Goddess. This thing is some cracky sauciness when you have 5 Earth monsters on the field. She's going to allow you to special summon an Earth monster, any one of these, which is really good. And then on top of that as well, she can negate. And she's a 2400 beast stick, which is really good. Then we are running 1 Foolish Bearer of Goods to send our trap to the graveyard. So that thing is a 1 card combo. in this deck list, because you're gonna get this thing out, you're gonna go into this thing, activate this thing, go into this thing, get yourself one of these, and you're gonna combo off, right? Then we are running 3 Naturia Blessings. This thing is not once per turn. This thing can allow you to do some crazy sauciness, which I really enjoy. So yeah, run that thing at 3. And we are running 3 Evenly Matched, because everybody and their mother is running this card right now. You're supposed to be running apparently, because it breaks boards, bro. This thing just breaks boards. I hate getting evenly matched. You hate getting evenly matched. It's wild. So we're running it at 3, and then I'm running 3 Naturia Sacred Trees, because anytime this thing goes in the graveyard, you got a free with a monster or a free spell, which is amazing. Then I am running 1 Naturia Beast, 1 Naturia Barkion. Again, this is infinite spell negate, infinite trap negate, 1 Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, again because I get to make it with this thing right here, right? Any level 3 tuner and this thing makes you this, which is really good because sometimes you could end up on both of these on the field. Then 1 Draco Berserker on the Tenyi. This is what I use to help me end games, destroy monsters, pop 2 cards, right? Banish a monster if they activate. Also, it's a level 8, so you can make it with this thing and any one of all your level 4 monsters. Then we are running 1 Crystal Grant. I can't speak English and read, bro, I'm sorry. But one of these right here, this thing is actually some cracky sauciness. I got to use it twice. And you're going to banish any monsters used to synchro this thing. So basically you get to banish 3 cards, either off of the graveyard or off of the field, because you're going to need 3 materials to synchro summon into this thing. So that thing is really good. Then we are running 1 Baron de la Flor. It's a staple in the deck. You can always make this thing too. Not always, but sometimes making it is really good. Abyss Dweller, again for the graveyard negations. You're gonna stop people from activating stuff in the graveyard. And then I'm running a whole little Zodiac package, because the Zodiac package is really good in this deck. Especially the Zodiac Dryden. It's gonna give you the quick effect, pop a card on the field. You're gonna run your Barbeau again, so you could attack directly and make your Zeus. I am running the number 70 Malavon Sin, just because sometimes this actually help me. Again, this deck doesn't OTKO that often. I actually managed to grind out a game, and then I use this card to move a card, banish it until next turn, and then I slap my opponent in the face, right? Then 1 Zodiac Shark 9 again for your Zodiac package, 1 number 141 Baguska, just in case you bricked really hard and you need to wait out a turn or 2, and 1 Galant Granite, because this is how you're gonna search out your barrier statue, right? And then Zeus, because of all of your Xyz monsters that you have over here. And then 1 Underworld Goddess of the Underworld, because sometimes you're going to end up with a lot of monsters on the field. If you need to out an Evermax or a Psychic and Punisher, you go into her and you're having a great time again. Now, with that being said, that is the deck list. That is the video for today. Again, bro, please don't ask me to make deck lists or videos if you're not going to be patient enough to wait. I'm not mad or angry, bro, honestly, because I enjoy making videos. I enjoy doing this, so I'm not going to get mad if I got to make a video on something, ever. But don't waste my time, bro, please. So with that being said, I hope you guys continue having a great day. Now I'm going to go play some Gotti Lunar deck so I can show it to you guys for the Synchro event, because I think that thing is the best Lunar deck they gave you in the event. That thing looks cracky. So, and then I'm going to give you some different variants of it too. So with that being said, again, continue having a great day, and I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.